This thing is awesome. Party time.
I love it. Hey, that's fair.
It used to actually have LEDs that lit up, but too much kinetic energy.
Broke the lights on it. We're gonna have to get another one.
There we go. All right, we'll get started here in a minute or two. I think we have a few more folks outside, and then we'll get going. We are ready. No, that's all right. All right, welcome to the July 1st Southeast Beekeepers Club meeting. Everybody's on this side.
Yeah.
All righty. So our agenda, well, welcome. We're going to talk about honey extraction. We're going to talk about the CSBA summer meeting. So a few of us were able to go there. It's held in Rifle, so pretty long distance, but we brought back notes, and we're going to share what we learned with you guys. And then, of course, Crud Cutter Confessions, which is always fun. And that's the wrong direction. So, who here is here for the very, very first time? That's why you're on that side of the room. So we have a tradition. If you wouldn't mind introducing yourselves to the rest of the club, so they know a little bit of your background, whether or not you have any bees, and anyway, if you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself.
I think I'm loud enough.
That's fine.
Okay.
This is for the folks online.
Oh, gotcha. I am Nicole Norris. My husband James will be here right quick. We live out in Albert, so just a little bit south of Kiowa. We are first year bee havers, learning to be keepers. We are part of the Eastern Plains Bee Club as well, so we're super invested in like figuring this stuff out. We both work full time. We're building a house, but I kind of do all the homesteady stuff, so beekeeping just really made sense to do it.
Cool.
Uh-huh.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
And
My name is Chloe Curtis, and this is my son Grayson. We do not have bees yet, so I've done a couple of classes online. We're looking to probably have them next spring. So just kind of looking to get as much information as possible, just to be fully prepared for all the things that can happen.
awesome. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Okay. So, quick note about our club emails. How many people receive emails from us on a regular basis? No issues, no problems? Fantastic. Glad to hear it. If you are having issues receiving it, sometimes it goes into your spam folder. There's a couple of reasons for that. Technical, won't get into it. But we do send out messages before these meetings, before major events like this meeting, and before our regular apiary meetings. So you should get at least 2 emails from us every month. If you're not getting 2 emails from us every month, just check your spam folder, see if you can pull it out of there and make certain.
There's the Google Groups mails that come out. I think the apiary event was that.
So
Is that also the website?
they're coming from our Club Express account, but they get named gmail.com, ending in gmail.com. So they're going to come from sebcbmail@gmail.com currently. We might change that in the future, but right now that's where it's coming from. Okay, and of course, got to say it over again, because everybody does this so well. We are very lucky to have this venue, so at the end of the day, if we do everything to keep it nice and clean and put it back in the state that it was in before we got here, that would be fantastic. And if you have any borrowed books, please return them when you're done. And it's that time of year when we have to introduce Doug Wilson again, because
Do we have to?
because he is the keeper of all of the club's awesome equipment that is available for members to take out and use during the harvest season. And since we're going to be talking about that, yeah, there's some people who have honey, some people who just have bees. So, hence the, if you do need some equipment, please coordinate with Doug, and Doug is in the back over there. Call him by phone. Here's the number, or you can email him at this email address. And do not text. It will not be responded to. So, interpersonal communications, all the best when you have voice.
So this is the cell phone. Only text if you don't want an answer.
So
So I can make phone calls.
you don't want to hit NN 333334646 in order to respond.
Not a big rush on the honey extractors this year.
Well, it'll be good for next year then. You'll have the knowledge. So, anyway.
So if you guys want a list of all the equipment that Doug has, it's on our website. It's on our website, so you can find it there.
So, yes, as she said, if you want a list of all the equipment that we have, it's on the Southeast Beekeepers website, and you can see what's available so you can check it out. Oh, we have the Parker Honey Festival coming up on Sunday, August 2nd, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. at O'Brien Park in Parker. We will have a pavilion set up. And if you want to volunteer to be there and to answer questions about bees and beekeeping, we can definitely use the help and assistance. You can sign up on the website as well. You go to the events page, scroll down and find this, and then you can sign up for a time. And if you've never been, it's a really great opportunity to see what a lot of other beekeepers have for their products. And of course, other educational sites as well.
Can I say something about that?
Absolutely.
So, you may think I'm just a first-year beekeeper. I don't know anything, I don't even have bees yet. I'm a bee haver learning to be a beekeeper. You are more educated and have more knowledge than 99% of the public. So please sign up. We can use you. If nothing else, you can man the Find the Queen poster and hand out honey sticks to the kids that find the queens. So please sign up. Everybody who ever signs up for it ends up staying twice the length of their shift because they're having so much fun. So please, please, please sign up.
We are going to have an in-apiary event on July 11th at the Club Apiary, which is at the Parker Water, just north of E470. Definitely need to arrive by 9:45. Everyone will go through the gate at exactly the same time at 10 a.m. And then the gate closes behind So that's why everybody's got to be there all at once. If you show up at 10:02 and we're actually on time, then you might get stuck outside and not be able to come inside. So the club apiary events are really fun. You get to get into the hive, see hives. If you've never been in a hive yourself, that's a great way to see it. You do have to bring your bee suit. Otherwise, we don't want to have a medical situation to deal with. So try to keep all the safety going. All right. This is July, and so with our monthly calendar, things that you should be aware of. Time to prepare for the, depending on who you are, harvest.
You're kidding, right?
You know, that's the other thing about being a beekeeper is flexibility. If you have anything to harvest, prepare for it. And you know, if you don't already have bottles, you should get bottles and labels. I would recommend you get your bottles and labels in December, but if you don't have them now, now's a really good time to do it. Second thing is, regardless, you need to take care of your mites and treat if necessary. So tonight we're going to talk about extracting honey. And I know that's going to be the joke for the evening. But
What state are we in?
so, yeah, exactly. That's the right word, dearth. Okay, we have a bunch of equipment to show off and to do show and tell and to talk about how to use that. And do you want to come up and start with that?
So I'll just say, I have my problem, everybody has a problem child hive, and I have one too, which I was almost at the point of telling the homeowner where they are. I was like, this is just not working out, whatever reason, it's a bad location. I'm gonna have to move this hive and not do it. Do you know, May 24th, I went there, they're still doing nothing. 10 days later, the top box is so full I can't lift it, and the honey super is packed full. I don't know where they found it, but just because they don't have anything on.
This last year.
This year, a month ago. So I had to go the next one.
who has honey this year.
Yeah.
So anyway, I have one hive that's producing out of 13. So I'm going to show you some stuff you need to have, and we actually have some of these things in the club library. Yes. It's actually,
Next to the person doing open feeding.
yeah, maybe, I don't know. I have several theories about it because it's a mile south of my home hives that are also not doing much.
Which are,
About 5 miles northeast of Parker.
I'm just curious.
Off of, if you know the Travoy neighborhood off of Inspiration?
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm about a mile north of Inspiration. The hive that's doing really well though is like a quarter of a mile north of Inspiration. So right next to, what's that called, Rocking Horse Ridge, which is a brand new development, so it's not like they have a lot of landscaping. I don't know, I just don't know, but.
Let's put a second super on mine.
We'll see. And where are yours?
I'm in Raleigh Down.
Raleigh Downs. Okay, so it can happen. They just have to find that linden tree somewhere, I guess. So anyway, we do have a couple of things in the club library, including one of these. And actually, I think we have a whole kit of sort of prep stuff that you can check out. And there's this, I think there's a fork. What else is in there, Doug?
There's a fork, there's like a little scraper thingy.
Another scraper.
Yeah,
Okay.
scraper.
Okay.
And I think that's all.
Okay, so here's how you use it. You need a bucket, and you can't use one of the little buckets. It has to be at least a 3-gallon bucket like this. You can use a 5-gallon bucket. I prefer the 3 just because it's lower, and I'll show you why. I don't know what this is, but it came when Janice Cobb and I started beekeeping. We went in together and got an extraction kit, and this came with it. But I'll show you how I use it. Yes, advance.
Well, yeah, if you put that like it is.
Down in the bucket. So
then
that's,
If you have a bigger bucket sprayer,
that your honey is going into, that keeps it off the bottom of the
Right.
bucket, so it will actually.
Here's another form.
Yeah.
There's another way to do it, is to have a bucket with, you drill holes in. So then you take this unit, and you'll notice the back of it has a curve, and the front of it or the top of it has a little rectangle with holes. The curvy part goes right here on the bucket, fits exactly, very securely. You then take your frame, which will have had a capping. This one doesn't have caps. And it fits very nicely in that hole, and you can actually let go of it. And there it stays. Ooh. Then
So it holds a medium or a deep?
it holds a medium or a deep. It's got holes for a deep as well. So then now, the other trick is my honey supers, I always do 9 frames instead of 10, so that they build out just a little bit. And I don't know if you can see it. You probably can't see it. This is built out maybe like a 1/4 of an inch out away from the wood, which makes it super easy to take the bread knife you bought a week after you got married 45 years ago, which is the best one I've tried. And it's got these very fine serrations there, and you just basically shave like this, go back and forth. Now, it's also helpful to have a bowl of hot water that you can occasionally dip it into, because sometimes it'll get kind of gummy. All right? If they haven't built out very well, and you do this and you see, oh, I still have a lot of capped cells, it's nice to have a uncapping fork. Or I think in the kit we may have a roller. They sell rollers that have little tines on them, and you like a paint roller, and you can roll up and down. I'm not a fan of those. I think they get gummed up a lot. But you can take your fork and just kind of scrape along this. Why are we doing this over a bucket? Because that shaved off capping has got a little bit of honey attached. That is yours. You don't sell that. You don't give that away. That is yours, okay? Because that is the best honey in your hive. So that's going to drop down into this bucket where you have your little thingy, whatever that is. Or even if you don't, if you have just something that you can strain it with, or like Cynthia with the extra bucket there. Then what you'll do is so you've got this all shaved off, and that honey is just dripping, just like you can see here. It's just going to drip, drip, drip. So you want to have one of these. This is just a bussing tray that you can get online. Make sure it's food grade. You want everything that you touch to be food grade. And then you just put this in here until you're ready to until your husband is ready to put it in the extractor and extract it out. And we have like a little system where we do it. I'm doing that. We put on the Rolling Stones tape, and we do that. I do this, shave it off. He runs the extractor, and we can get through a honey super in about 40 minutes, 45 minutes with the two of us. If you're all by yourself, it's going to take longer. So I really recommend getting one of these for that purpose.
You can get them at that restaurant supply office.
Restaurant supplies have them.
$2.25.
And get a couple of them, because they will come in very handy.
Yeah,
And
they had one hose, one solid, and then it drained down into the six frames to get off.
that's another way to do it, is to punch your holes in here. The other way I've seen it done is to get one of these and it's a little bit bigger, and you put a piece of wood across it and do it like this. Yeah, like that. A little nail in it to hold it. I think this, and we have one with the club. Check it out. If you really like it, maybe buy one for yourself. They're not expensive. I think it was like 10, 15 bucks. Yeah.
What she's holding up in her right hand for you new beekeepers really saves the day. It's a dandy piece. And I bought mine years ago, $10. Now they're $35. $35.
Is it?
But if any of you are do-it-yourself people who will create creativity, if you take the lid of a 5-gallon bucket, do you have a lid?
I don't have a lid. No.
Okay, a lid, 5-gallon bucket. brief?
Come up here.
Yeah, have you ever known me to be brief?
No.
Okay. Carefully cut, bisect the lid in half. Take a piece of scrap, 1x4, 1x6, and screw it to the half on top, and take a 1-inch drill bit and drill corresponding holes that match these. And the reason you got 4 is one set is for a medium frame, and the other is for a deep frame. And so you can drill your holes, and it fits on your bucket because it's half, and you have the same thing for just a couple of dollars versus $35. Now, I've got one of these, and yeah, I use it. It's real solid, real nice, but I also have the one I made for myself, and it's real handy. So, support your local $35.
So I just want to say, what you do with your cappings, you're gonna cover this with saran wrap or something, or a lid if you have a lid, and just let it set in a warm place for about a day, and then you come back and you're gonna lift this out, and that's gonna be beautiful drained off cappings, and you can melt those down, and that is brand new, beautiful wax. If you want to make lip balm, you want to use it in a cosmetic type product, that is the best wax you're going to get out of your hive. So, any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so when you bring out your caps, it's filled with honey. It's not just wax.
What? Yeah, if it drains. Now, I have had it where I have filled this thing up too far, and this is sitting down in the honey. If that happens, just take it out and do something to hold it up.
So
Yeah.
you take that and you put it way out in the back of your yard, and you let the bees clean
Yes.
the honey off.
The bees can clean it.
Really nice clean honey, yeah.
But it will also attract squirrels and other things. So make sure you kind of keep an eye, put it somewhere where you can see what's going
I've
on.
never had any squirrels.
Oh, really? I had and the wasps will get into it. Yeah. Oh, by the way, when you're done extracting, this will still have some honey in it. And the best way to get it clean is to just put it back in the honey super, put it back on the hive, give them a day, 2 days, 3 days, and they will clean that out so it's dry as a bone like this. And then you take them off, you freeze them, or do however you're going to do it for your winter storage. If it has never had brood in it, it will probably be okay if you just put it in a bin. If it's ever had brood, and this one you can kind of tell, this one had brood in it at one point, this needs to go in the freezer before it goes into your bin, just for a couple days, to freeze any potential wax moth eggs that might be lurking. They can put them in the wood, they can be anywhere. So you don't want to open it up next spring and it's all webs and gross. All right, any questions? Okay. Oh, and if you don't have the knife from 45 years ago, you can try just a regular bread knife. You can buy heated knives. Has anybody ever used a heated knife and liked it? You like it? Okay. I've heard mixed bag about heated knives. There was a
little bit of a learning curve, but
Okay.
I started off with serrated knife. Do not try your old wedding present electric knife.
Yeah, no. That won't work. Yeah, no, I know that won't work.
The electric knife, yeah, we've got to like that one.
Yeah.
We also do use the 9 frame, so it does get spread out, so that definitely made it easier.
That makes it so much easier just to slice that thing off. So, okay, cool.
And
Yes.
regarding the 9 frame, I was always told, this is how I do it. The first year when I'm drawing out comb on my super frame, you have to let them draw out. I do 10 frame for the first year. Then once that's drawn out, Then I switched to 9-frame using a spacer on my second year of that
Yeah.
super. Is that your approach as well?
I just put it in 9 frames and let them figure it out.
From-
But
okay,
you've got to
from-
be careful. You can't just put in 9 blank. I mean, just foundation only. I have enough of this built up over the years that I can checkerboard it. So if I have new foundation, I always put it next to one that's already got calm on it. So that otherwise they're gonna, if you don't have any already built out, then yeah, you need to do that process where you at least get something built out first.
Year 1, 10 frames. Year 2, then you can get easy little spacers you nail in
Yeah.
there. I love those.
Yeah, so there's these little, they come like 10 to a package or something, and they're little metal things that you just put on the sides of the super, and it spaces them perfectly and makes it also a lot easier to pull them out. So,
Parts are so much easier.
yep. Make your life easy. There's too many fuzzy things about this practice, and if there's something that you can do that makes it easier, I always advocate doing that. So, all right, thank you.
Part 2 of part 1. So this is a 2-frame extractor, electric, as opposed to hand crank. How many people have done hand crank? I will not do hand crank.
It was $100. What was
Year
it?
1.
Year 1.
All I remember is, as soon as I saw that hand crank, my mind went back to when I was 8 years old, and my dad said, "Do you want some ice cream?"
Yeah, that's right.
And how many people know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
You
yeah.
get. So, I'm going to tell you how to put this together, and then Doug's going to correct me. So, we have a bunch of parts here, and this is a 2-frame, and I'll explain how that works. So,
While you're showing them, let me just talk about what's in this little bag.
sure.
So when you get the extractor, it's going to have some nuts to hold the top on. And the big thing that's done here is a little ball bearing. And the ball bearing goes down in here. And when you pick it up, I'll also put some of this, some food grade lubricant, helps it spin. So that's the big thing, that we'll always have this little packet with it, with the washers, nuts, a little wrench, and the big thing is the ball bearing. And like I said, we always need to lubricate it before you do it. And we'll lubricate it before we give it to you. The rest of the packet stuff will be in here.
And this contains some nuts and a tool, a little wrench, medical grade wrench nonetheless, and that is used to secure the rest of the equipment. So when we're cleaning it at the end of the day, the other thing is not to lose the ball bearing. Because we don't want to have to go out and buy new ball bearings all the time. So you, for the audience, that thing in the middle is where the ball bearing goes. Way down there at the bottom. And once the ball bearing is in there, and I'm not going to put it in there right now, but once it's in there, the next thing you do is you insert the frame. And you can always tell if the ball bearing is not there. If when you put the frame in, and then you attach the motor at the top here, if it doesn't actually fit, like there's a whole bunch of space here right now because the ball bearing is not in there. But if the ball bearing were in there, it would be perfectly mated right up in there. Electrical power, so obviously you don't want to be doing this around too much water. There are these screws on the side, and you set them up and you put them through the little holes in the motor assembly, and then you take a washer and a nut, and then hand screw it, and then when you get it perfect, just tighten it up, but not so tight that it bends the metal. The key there, though, is making certain that the motor and the frame are attached to one another correctly. And once you're done with that, it's ready to go. Now, these are frames that have never been used. They're plastic. They still have wax on it, but they don't have any honey. So it's not going to get this all dirty. And when you insert it, this is going to spin in a particular direction. It's going to go clockwise. And so what you want to do is you want to insert these in such a way that how many people know that when the bees make honey, the wax, they're at an angle. It's not perfectly horizontal, so it's at an angle. And what you want to do is you want to make certain that as it's spinning naturally in the direction that the wax is made versus the other direction, in which case it's going to fight against it. And so there's a couple of ways to figure that out. One is to put it in and try it and see how long it takes. And then it'd say, well, that didn't work very well, and then you flip it around and do the other direction. But in any case, you insert them, and they have these little containers down on the bottom, and they should fit perfectly. If they're like wonky and off to the side, then that means that you need to reposition them so that they're not. And the reason for that is that this is a centrifuge. And what you want to be able to do is turn it on and have it spin and be in balance. If it's out of balance, if you only put one frame in, for instance, it's going to wobble all over the place and it's going to be on the ground and you're going to be like, what the heck is going on? And even if you hold it with all your weight, it's going to overpower you and it's not going to be a fun picture. So it does have a meter on the side here, a little potentiometer. Goes from 0 to 10, well actually 0 to 100. When you turn it on, and again, I'm not doing that because I don't have it fully properly assembled. When you turn it on, it's at 0. And so it doesn't actually do anything other than maybe hum a little bit. And then you can turn the knob and it'll get slow, faster, 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 until eventually you get it all the way to 100, and that's as fast as it'll ever go. But as you get faster, that's where if it's out of balance, you'll know right away that it's out of balance. And you've got two choices at that point. One is to turn it off, and the other is to hold on tight. And if you hold on tight, that might work for a little while, but it depends on whether or not it can self-correct. As the honey is extracted, it'll fly out and attach to the sides of the bell here. And that means that some of the weight on those frames is removed. And so if it's out of balance, it'll slowly begin to come back into balance. But you can't rely on that. My recommendation is if it is out of balance, figure out why it's out of balance and put it back, or slow the speed down. Once you're done, then you take this out and you flip it around and you put it right back in so that you can do the other side, because it's only going to do one side at a time. Now, there's some out there that are like really nice ones that maybe hold 12 of these instead of just 2. And they are oriented so that the top bar of the frame is on the outside and it spins the entire frame like this. Those are much bigger. We don't have one of those. And that'll extract the wax or the honey from both sides at the same time. So very, very fast. But this one only does one side at a time. So once you've gotten that done and both sides are extracted, then you remove it, put it back in your bucket, or get ready to put it back in your honey super for the next piece, for the next step in your process. Any questions?
So what size spring does the club, double medium or deep?
This will do.
Shallows?
This will do medium, deep, and shallows. The deeps are real easy on this because the cage is designed to hold the deep very securely. Mediums, you got to put it in just right. You got to scoot it to the edge, exactly. So what I'll do on one side is I'll scoot one to this side and one to this side so that it's stable on the base. If I don't do that, then they might tip like this. And that's not the end of the world, but it does make it so that it's slightly out of balance. And the same thing with the minis. You just got to put it way to the edge. Any other? Yes.
So I luckily got a 6-frame one off of Craigslist a few years ago. I didn't realize how lucky I was because it was my first year. But I do struggle with the balance thing. And I've been trying to look up, things on anti-vibration or anti-shaking type of things. Has anyone tried any techniques other than holding on for dear life? Some of the boards.
Yeah, just bolt it to a board.
Got that.
Yeah, I've done that, where you bolt it to the pilot. And then now I bought, I got a Hilco 12 frame. And they come out with these springs that mount to the bottom of the legs.
Right.
And you turn them on and it takes that wobble out.
Okay.
Because they're the weirdest things. And they want you to turn it up high at first instead of slowly going up. It takes that wobble. But the best thing you could do is bolt it. Like if you just got a 6-frame, bolt it to the board, and then balance it good. You put the fats across from the fats, the skinnies across
Well, that's
from
what
the
we struggle
skinnies.
with because again, they're all slightly different, but so when it gets out, because the way that mine is bolted to the bottom, so basically it just wiggles. It's not like that one where the frames go up the sides. So I'd seen the springs, I'd seen also putting, I think, the casters on the bottom. to help do
Casters
that.
will work. The design of the casters, it'll sit there and
Yeah,
move.
yeah.
It's designed to move to take that
So that the unit's not
force.
doing it, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen where they on YouTube where they
Okay.
put casters on them, or they mount it to a board and put casters under
Yeah.
the board. There's all
right.
kinds of ways,
Well,
but
there's also
hanging
that-
on to it
that
is
heavy-
not an option.
The heavy rubber that you use in the beds of pickup trucks. It's a real dense rubber mat. You can put that down and that will absorb
Some of the wall.
some of it, but either widening the base.
That's what I was gonna try as well.
For me, I put 2 outriggers on, made them out of 4x4s. So it takes the rocking
Okay.
side to side out of.
All right, yeah, so I saw a lot of stuff on YouTube. I thought I'd ask people who maybe have done it before I try to.
Yeah, I've done all
So-
different kinds of things, and that's about what I did.
Okay,
A piece of 3/4 inch plywood, for your situation, would
Yeah.
probably work best.
Yeah.
Because it takes out most of your vibration.
Okay.
And then try to balance your load. And if it wobbles too much, then go in there and shift your load a little
Okay.
more.
thank you very
All
much.
right.
I'd just add to that, to protect the club's equipment, I've bolted it to the ground, but the way that's built, the way it's welded to the bucket, it'll break the legs off of them. So I've gotten to where I take one of those ratchet straps and put it around the bottom to hold the legs on the bucket, and then it doesn't bust it.
So I go ahead and mine are screwed to a 3/4 inch piece of plywood. And then, there's 2 things. One, just like Ann pointed out, she's her husband, Ann's the frame's husband. My son helps me. And then my son stands on one side of the board, I stand on the other. We normally sit there and put our elbows on top of the spinner. And that does a lot. But the other thing is, I had to learn probably the hard way. You start out slow, and just as you were demonstrating, you start out slow, let it get the bulk of the honey out. Then you go faster. You don't, because for years I sat there and hung on to this thing vibrating. And if you start out slow, just let it run for 5 minutes and it'll get the bulk of that weight out. And then it does balance itself out, like Peter's saying.
Weights on that plywood work too, like we use for bench press and down.
Oh, yeah,
Stack him up underneath, Yeah, on plywood, underneath, away from your bottom bucket, where it's coming out, but that weight on that plywood kind of keeps it,
Yeah, those, they keep it in place, but it's still like, so the base will stay stable, but then the unit is still, I'm
Yeah.
worried that I'm gonna break the.
yeah, it just starts.
We have two 80-pound barbells that we put on either side too, and my son and I are standing there. But it's like good quality time, you know? We talk. So it's awesome.
Sure.
What I've done for that size is we can make a platform, plywood and maybe 2x4. You can put a cinder block or barbells or whatever on that. You can put garden hose or radiator hose kind of underneath to kind of help pad it. And the other advantage to raising it up a little bit, you can get it high enough so your 5-gallon bucket or bucket you're using will fit underneath the gate naturally.
The one, so I got it, he had welded like legs onto it, onto the bottom, so it just, I have 2 buckets that fit and 3 buckets that don't fit. And so, yeah, we welded it, like I said, it's up and down instead of wide base and support, so I'm just worried that even if I like try to hold on to it, like really pull down, or hold on to the base, that the unit itself is going to, you know, kind of stress fracture type thing, so.
And that's the thing about, you're absolutely right. I mean, if it's out of balance, there's stresses that are having to be absorbed by something. And the best way, in my opinion, the best way to deal with that is to make certain that there is no stress out of balance. And obviously that's your whole point. It's like, well, how do you get there?
Yeah.
Especially if you have 6 frames that all of them are a different size. So that's one of the things I like about actually using I use the hot knife, and I will bring it right down to the wood and when I'm cutting the wax off. And so that makes every single one of my frames pretty much the same size with almost the same weight. And then, you know, the rest of the honey and the wax goes in the bucket. I've got a large capping bucket and cut up the wax, and it'll drip out, and eventually it'll go in with all the rest of the honey. But that's my method.
Thank
Doug.
you everyone for all the suggestions.
So an important thing to remember when you're using this is you can, it has the off-on switch and then it has the little rheostat. If you just hit the off switch, it's great until you put the next one in and turn it on and it's on 100.
Yeah.
So make sure you turn it down before you turn it off.
And you will discover that very quickly.
Yeah, no, it only takes once to figure that out.
Ann.
Oh, I was gonna say, you wanna talk about, making sure that you don't froth your honey in the bottom.
The very first time that I extracted honey, I was just so happy with myself because, you know, I had a lot of honey. And first year, I was a first year, and they told me you're never going to get any honey, but I had honey, and I was so happy. And anyway, I invited a bunch of people over. We were having a party, and we decided to make some hot dogs and hamburgers, and I just let it go. And I walked over there, and I made hot dogs and hamburgers, and I came back a little while later, and I was shocked to find that I didn't have honey anymore, that I had whipped honey. Because the gate was closed, and the amount that had come up in the bottom had come up, and it made contact with the cage, which was constantly spinning, and it acted like a giant blender, and it injected a huge amount of air into that honey, and I then had really, really nice whipped honey. I did not know that it was whipped honey at the time. I just thought, oh my God, I've destroyed my honey. But anyway, don't do that. Just like Ann said.
If you do it inside, because I always do a box or two for the family, my extended family comes over.
Free labor.
Huh?
Free labor.
Yeah, it's my own holiday. It's called the Clements Honey Harvest. But make sure you put a rug down underneath it if you're on a wood floor, because things vibrate and you'll go right through the wood floor finish. So we have like a 6x8 rug that Mom was throwing out, and I keep it in the garage, bring it in. We put that down, and it just protects the floor underneath the spinner.
That's a really good idea. I do mine in my garage, so I'm not so concerned about it. But if you're doing it in a nicer place, then yeah, you absolutely need to take care of the floor. absolutely need to take care of the floor.
Well,
Yes.
there's a saying that 1 teaspoon of honey will cover your whole kitchen. So I don't recommend doing it in your kitchen. I've done it a couple times, but I regretted it. But, yeah, like the garage, but don't do it where the bees can get to you. Make sure your screens are good, that they can't get to you. Don't leave the garage door open.
We always keep a bucket of water there because anyone, whichever cousin is coming in to cut, then everyone has to wash their hands and just a bucket of water because it will end up all over my kitchen.
Warm water, yes. We have whenever we're doing the extraction, it's like, okay, my shoes are now sticky. I am not allowed to bring my shoes into the house. Or, they can't.
My wife is so over beekeeping right now. She's like, you were making syrup again in the laundry room, weren't you? Sticky shoes.
Can I go back to the bearing?
Sure.
That's in the extractor, and the extractor that me and my neighbor use, it was a hand-me-down, which it does not have that bearing in there. So what is the size? And it's probably a little bit different than
Meaning
that.
it's supposed to have the bearing, but it's missing it?
Should, because there's I think a little bit of play, and I think it would probably help us to have that bearing inside there to help engage like an even spin on that.
You can come up and take a look at it, but
Where do you guys
So
order
if
those
I,
from?
if I remember the package that was in, I think they're 5mm.
Okay, roughly.
But
I should have brought
sure.
a ruler.
there's a couple ways you can figure it out, though. One is to assemble your unit
Yeah,
and then see how much play you've got.
yeah.
And then
Oh, that would be a good idea of how much. to
And-
raise. Yeah, and
that's the other way to do it, measure the diameter of the hole.
Yeah.
And then get a slightly smaller.
But would you order the bearings from? Where do you order?
No idea.
Probably get it from Home
Ace,
Depot.
Ace Hardware has the nice
Okay.
little thing of like all, 1mm and.
Okay.
And that's the other way. Just buy 10 of them and see which one fits.
Yeah, sure.
If there's not a bearing in there, it's missing. It really should.
It should have one. Yeah, even if it was like I don't know if it was Temu back in the day, but even if it was like not a.
Because
Upper.
another way to look at it is to look at the bottom of your frame, and it's probably rounded,
Yeah, I think it is.
meaning it's intended to sit on
Sit
top.
of that.
Exactly. And you can come up here and take a look at this one too,
Yeah.
and a little later and see how it's assembled.
And
Yeah.
that coupling, like you say, ain't gonna fit. The coupling on top of the motor to the basket,
Yeah,
it won't fit, it won't seat all the way if the bearing's missing.
it fits, but I just feel like it's again, it's probably one of the other manufacturers of the extractors, which we've had to rebuild the rheostat because it's either on or off. It just
And the reason for that is over time, you get sticky,
yeah.
and the stickiness gets into it, and so I do my best whenever I'm touching that. It's like the hot bucket, the hot water in the
Yeah.
bucket. It's like, okay, before I touch the equipment, I've got to clean my hands.
One drop of honey walks all over the room.
Yeah.
That is true. Okay, anybody? Oh, last other thing. A 3-gallon bucket fits perfectly under this at this height. If you try to put a 5-gallon under there, it won't fit. When I do this, what I'll do is I'll also have a metal sieve. So when I open the gate and I pour the honey into my bucket, it's going through the metal sieve, and that's the first, not filtration, but straining. It's straining, not filtering.
The
Yeah.
absolute never to be violated rule is once you open that gate, never leave it alone. Because you go to answer the phone and you come back and now you got a lake of honey all over the place. Of course, that would never happen to me.
They sell little alarms that you can put on that bucket. It come up with like a toilet float.
My wife's voice. Yeah,
after the fact, yeah, but it's all over the floor.
And the surest way to shorten your marriage is do this in your kitchen.
Well, don't encourage it.
Okay, any other questions?
Cleaning.
Cleaning. So how do I clean this? There's a bunch of different ways to clean these things. The important thing is you want to return it to a sanitary state. And what I do is I've done this many times. It works for me. Other people do it differently. I will use hot water. I'll turn up my thermostat on my hot water heater, plug a hose into my dryer, my washer line, and then I have a hose, and I've got a really nice, what do you call those, guns? Sprayer. And I will spray this whole thing off with hot water, and all the wax, all the honey, all the everything that I haven't been able to get out of there is removed. Now, before I clean that, my wife has a method that she can't abide wasting a single drop of anything. And I very much appreciate this. She will take a very flat piece of plastic, a little flexible, not quite a spatula, but more so, and scrape the edge of this so that all the honey that's in there actually gets down to the bottom and into the bucket and into the bottles that you're eventually going to sell. There's no point in leaving honey in here if you can get it out and put it in. So that's the first thing. Get all the honey that you have in here out of here. And once you've done that, then I take the hot water, I spray everything. It gets all the wax off, it gets all the remaining honey off, and it returns it to a nice stable state. I have heard other people say they use cold water. And
It melts in hot water.
yes, it does.
You rinse it in cold water and you get your wax out before you use the hot water. Yeah, because otherwise you have melted wax and filled with wax all the time.
I've never had.
Do not put this down your drain.
Oh, no.
Oh gosh, no. I do this in the backyard. the only down.
People do not put this water down.
Yeah, do not put this water down your drain. The downside to doing this outside is that the bees know about it, and they come to investigate because they can still smell the honey that's remaining here. So I tend to do the cleaning after dark when they're not so engaged.
Some people just put it outside, let the bees clean it.
And that's another way to do it too.
I always thought that caused a problem.
Yeah, you have to be careful you don't put it somewhere hot where you'll end up with a bunch of fried beans on that metal.
And they poop around. I don't like to do that.
Yeah, I don't like to do it. I just rinse it with cold water out on the apron, and it really rinses down the apron off the edge, and then the bees can get the rinsed out honey and stuff there.
I'm going to try the cold water method this time, see what happens.
Hot water, it melts that wax, and then you'll see where you got a film of wax on everything. Because it's melted, it's real thin, real fine, thin. Where cold water rinses out the clumps of wax before it ever melts. And then you can wash it down with hot water after you get the wax out. You take it to the car wash?
I would not run this through a car wash.
That poor guy after you is sticky.
So just remember, the top piece is an electrical piece of equipment. You do not want to spray the top piece.
But it comes off.
It does come off. When you clean the top piece, you definitely want to take a hot water or rag and use some pressure and force to get it off. Again, the stickiness gets everywhere. You want to return it as not sticky as you can. And
We didn't talk about this, but you should definitely sanitize everything before you extract. You go to a beer supply place, they'll sell you that, what's it called, no-rinse sanitizer. That's perfect.
When you're gonna lose that bearing is when you're rinsing it out. Pump out of there, roll down that driveway so you can.
yeah, exactly. If you're like spraying down in here, it's like off it goes.
Don't do it on the grass.
So if you need to borrow it, if you have some lucky enough to have some honey to use, I loan it out, pick up Monday, bring back on Thursday, and then pick up on Friday, bring back on Sunday. And so that, and we have two frames and a 4 frame. And so I don't think we've ever had people waiting for them, but if you kind of stick to that, if you're a weekday extractor or a weekend extractor, then that works out really well. And just bring it back better than you got it. Sometimes I got it back just before I loaned it to you and didn't have a chance to look at it and clean up any stuff. So just bring it back to me better than you got it.
Awesome.
Okay, so you clean out the honey with the cold water, but then you still got the wax in there.
No, you clean out your wax and your initial rinse is with
Yeah.
cold water. And it rinses that honey and that wax out of your thing, then you can go back in with your hot water, but you put hot water and wax together, it melts your wax and then
Okay,
that
so,
real
The
small.
wax just almost freezes and flicks off.
okay.
First rinse, cold. Second rinse, finishing.
So that's the methodology that everybody's saying is 2 rinses. First one cold, second one hot. Okay, anything else? Anybody else have? Yeah,
And
Brian.
just when you are doing your honey, I was ecstatic when Walmart started carrying food grade buckets. And so, because we used to have to order them special for food grade. And now Walmart in the paint department sells $5 white buckets, but they're all food grade. I saw one around here because I know the stickers. When it was, one of them has a 5, it was sitting right here. But Walmart has food grade and it'll say food grade on it. And then you can also get food grade lids because of the plastics, because we've heard about microplastics. You want to make sure that any honey that goes into a bucket is going into food grade buckets. I run them through my dishwasher before I use them because I don't know how long the honey's going to sit in there. So food grade. And
There's a 70 and a 90. A 90 mil, I guess it is, will not crack. Sometimes them 70 mils will split on you and you have honey everywhere. Especially if you get a lot of harvest and you stack it. I bottle the same day I'm extracting, so I don't put them in buckets. But you can get these 3-gallon buckets used to be able to get them from the King Super Bakery Department. You go back there and ask them, you got any buckets, and they'll give them to you. They got icing in them, you can.
Kings won't do it
Costco-
anymore, but Walmart will. Kings won't give them out anymore. There's a safety reason for whatever, and they stopped giving them out. But Walmart still does do the 3-gallon. It's the icing buckets.
Yeah.
So if you go to the bakery and just ask them for their old icing buckets, they'll give them out no problem.
I used to get the icing buckets from Costco as well. They're smaller, they're
Yeah,
1s and 3s, but I'll take them. I use them for miscellaneous stuff.
Another thing I do is when I'm extracting, I extract into a 5-gallon bucket. I think I've showed you this over the years. I put one of them 5-gallon paint strainers inside that 5-gallon bucket, and then I take this nylon cord with 2 loops tied on it. I wrap around through, and it comes back 3 times, and you can cinch that up where that mesh filter don't fall down in there and plug up your pit cup.
Yeah, I get the,
Those things are really good, because then you get, if you have a metal mesh on top where it's coming out of the extractor, and then that bag mesh under there, you don't get any wax in your honey. Then I have 2 bottling buckets, and when that's full, I'll put it up on the counter, and Cornelia will start bottling it, I'll put another one under there, and you have no wax in your honey at all.
I get a lot of the mesh bags, Home Depot. I use hand clamps on the bucket lid, and then I let that drain, and then I have another finishing bucket where after the honey's come out, I put it in another bucket, and then I have like 4 mesh bags sitting in one bucket, and then they sit there and drain. I put a lid on top, and they drain for a couple days in my garage. And but I love the mesh.
I know under your
paint
cappings,
filters.
I uncap into a 3-gallon bucket with one of the pink filters, and when I'm done, I pull it all up and tie it off. I've got a little bar that goes across on my bucket with the bottom cut out. And I tie it up and it drains down in there, and after a few days, there's no honey in that.
Yeah, this goes full circle though, that what Ann was showing at the very first with that, it had those arms that came up with the loop and the flat spot. Or do you have it there? Yeah, if you put that in your 5-gallon bucket and then the mesh bag that you're talking about, you end up with space, that much space or so, from that to the bottom of the 5-gallon bucket. So it drains faster through because it's not sitting in the stuff that it's already drained through. You can do the same. You had your buckets. You take a 3-gallon bucket and drill as many holes as you want in the bottom of the 3-gallon bucket, because it will nest inside the 5-gallon bucket. And you put your mesh bag that has the honey in it in the 3-gallon bucket, and those holes will allow the honey to come through the mesh bag and pool in the bottom of the 5-gallon bucket. And try it, and it just simplifies the whole process.
When I pull honey, I pull just enough boxes that I could extract in one day. Because hot honey flows better than cold honey. And so if you're extracting hot honey, it's flowing into your buckets, it's going through your bottling tank into your jars, everything flows nice. So that's something I learned from the beginning from Jerry White, remember?
Jerry Webb.
Yeah, Webb. And he says just pull enough that you're gonna do that day, because when that honey gets cold, cold could be 70 degrees in room temperature, because it's 90 degrees, otherwise it flows so much nicer. So I'll put my skateboards under for just enough I could pull in one day.
All righty, well, we're a little bit over time, but this is obviously a great conversation, even though nobody has any honey.
But
Yeah.
Peter, ask the new people if they are completely confused or have any questions.
Vance wants me to ask if you are completely confused or if you have any questions. You're good. Okay. All right, well, we're going to take a break, so let's... Oh.
If anyone's interested, especially with how dry and everything we are, I have an electric smoker. So if anyone wants to see it, it'll be outside. I'll show you.
Peter, you think it's okay if I take this off just to look at that? I'm gonna take some pictures of the yeah, and it's probably I'm not sure.
But it's going to be a perfect accident.
So we might drive by your neighborhood.
Well, and I wonder then would that cause potentially a grilled, yeah.
So on yours, you can disassemble this one's there. You can hold that down, you can hold the bottom inside, and you can see whatever you look
And then there's a llama farm on Mall Road right there. Yep, there used to be all ranch.
So you might not have any
Right. And that just might be the lower quality. It's been great.
If we were all road
But
did
I
it.
just wonder.
So if you can turn it on, it's perfectly balanced, then there's nothing wrong with it.
Right.
And then if you put the frames in, and now you know one variable changes. So, but yeah, this is.
I want to see how it's like. I see you put this back on. And then,
Well, so it's not going to have the bearing in it. It's not going to have the bearing in it. But when
is this the bag with the bearings in it?
Yeah.
Let me just take a photo see for the night.
Everything from
Sure.
he said, I'll do it, but you have to be
Credit card?
Yeah, something like that. Give me an idea.
He does not want to stay with you.
I don't know, somewhere around the middle of May, I'm like, hey, we should get these.
Gives me an idea then, roughly. Okay, thanks. Yeah, I'm glad to hear it. I'm not the only one having problems with.
Well, you know, the thing is, you do this once a year, maybe twice.
Yeah.
So it's not like you get a lot of practice.
Well, I mean, the things just.
That, yeah.
Yeah. Like last year was great. And then this year.
Oh, wait, that's not what I want to pick up. I want to pick up, is this yours?
Yep.
Looks like back in 21.
These are, like, I won these in a contest.
Yeah, that Michael, what's his name? From 2016. Michael Bush was pushing this small cell, I don't know, about 10 years ago. The whole idea was smaller bees where you're not mostly in the campus as long as bigger bees. So you might don't gestate all the
I don't, so I
put it in the hive, it'll make it.
that's true, but so far, I put 3 of those in, and nobody's using them. They're like, because they don't like them, and I don't want to put stress on them, so I'm gonna take them out.
Oh, you got big bees.
Yeah, I'm gonna take them out.
Michael Bush used to push that small cell graft. He found out it didn't work.
Maybe.
Here's that small cell graft, and that's his way of.
Yeah. And they were asking me, like, why were they bothered, my dog? No. They're sure they do. is,
Oh, no,
unless
you're
you
right.
look,
Fires.
they
We're both
go,
gonna get fires.
they're off.
It's fires.
They're not gonna be interested in hanging out and cutting your yard. Well, the dogs aren't afraid of bees. Bees go around a dog, they just.
We live in a
They
tube,
don't-
so, yeah.
They don't start swatting.
Close to the highway. Then my brother started.
Yeah, and then you can get started with using chocolate nukes. How do you
Where did you get your?
Yeah, I started off with surprise, then you have anaphylactic reaction, so you should be toasting So half the world, one diagnosis,
So we're, all the beekeeping clubs are.
I know she's there because I see the road and all that. I know she's there. Good choice. I didn't do it. But I noticed that the top rate. Top one. Yeah, I don't know if yeah, it seems like it's been longer. People really since they started with the but a lot of people, waiting for second box. I had some, I just got they're moving around. You don't see what's they're like wrestling. All wrestling on the ground and watching them. Why why they start Ladies and
So the smokeless beekeeping, the smokeless smoker uses vanilla. So now I smell like vanilla.
Could be worse.
Very powerful.
I mean, there's worse things to smell like that. I always tell that to my vet because my dog needs to have emotional support spray cheese for vet visits. And whenever she eats it, she just gets it everywhere. So the vet ends up covered in spray cheese, and I'm covered in spray cheese. The vet tech's covered in spray cheese. The room is covered in spray cheese. I'm like, really? As a vet, like, can you complain about being covered in spray cheese? Because I feel like you get covered in a lot worse as a vet.
Okay. So we're a bit behind schedule. So the Colorado State Beekeepers Association had a, yep. I'm being aggressive. We're behind schedule, so we need to jump into this. All right, CSBA, they had their summer bee college last month, and we had a very good we had 2 speakers, they did 3 different talks, and we're gonna share some of the information that they provided. And I think Ann and I were there, Janice was there, who else was there? Veronica was there, she's still outside. Anyway, we're gonna share some of the information that we learned from this. The first talk was given by Dr. Robin Underwood about drones. And so she asks the question, are drones important? Why would we want to deal with drones? Kind of important. Anyway, she talked about drone development, that they have, what do they look like, that they take 24 days to emerge. The fact that they go through this process of, just like every other, egg, larva, pupa, then adult. And they stay capped for 10 days, which of course is why the mites love them so much. And then she talked about how long it takes for them to sexually mature. So it actually takes an additional 14 days after they emerge for them to be sexually mature. So they emerge, we call them adults, but they're really not adults. They're still teenagers living in mom's basement. And after about 14 days, which is a third of their life, then they go out and start hanging out with the guys at the DCAs. She also mentioned that in terms of their reproductive anatomy, whenever they're using that reproductive anatomy, basically all the blood that's in their bodies gets removed from their body and converted or moved into their reproductive anatomy. And so if you think about what that means is, we all know that, okay, if a bee mates, if a drone mates, it dies. And that's the reason why, because it's a one-way flow. It's like, once the blood exits from the bee's body and into its reproductive organs, it doesn't go back later. And most of its body is reproductive organs. The queen mates up to 70 times when she's out on her various mating flights. And that's important because that means that she's pulling in genetic material from 70 different, potentially.
7-0 or 17?
7-0. 7-0. Up to, yeah. That was a surprise to me. I was like, oh, maybe 10, 15. It's like, no, she's like 70. 7-0.
It was like 14.
Yeah, well.
Get an old book.
Old book, yeah. So this is the reason for the genetics. It's like, that's why she's taking in all this sperm for use for later in her life. And she's got the genetics from up to 70 different males, which means, potentially 70 different genetic strains. And so that really means that the diversity in the hive is quite extreme. It's not like, hey, this is a one woman show and you're just getting the same level of genetic expression. You're getting lots of different genetic expression within the hive. So why would we rear drones? It's like, does anybody do that on purpose? The answer.
Yeah, you want queens, you need drones.
Yeah. It promotes, the better drones you have, the better genetics you have for somebody else's hive, or maybe even your own hives. Because if you were to do like the green frame and say, I'm gonna take some drones and I'm gonna take that green frame out, freeze it, with the intention of getting rid of all your mites or reducing your mite count. That's effective at reducing your mite count, but what you're also doing is destroying your neighbor's chance of having a successful mating occur. The hive wants to have about 10% of its numbers being a drone. And if you don't let them do that, if you don't put in frames that are flexible enough to hold the males, to hold the drones, they're going to put comb all over the place in an attempt to get drones. And that's a sign of actually a healthy hive. A hive that is not healthy will not even attempt to make drones. They're like, we're too busy trying to survive. But if they have enough resources to do it, they're going to make about 10% of their population be drones. And it also, by doing that, it keeps the hive tidy, because if you don't let them, they're going to put burr comb everywhere in an attempt to make them. So, drones are sensitive. They are very sensitive to the environment. They're very sensitive to pesticides, and they can lose essentially, if they're exposed to a bad environment or they're stressed out, they're not going to have good sperm motility. They're just not going to be able to, even though they are capable of going through the act, they won't be able to offer much to the queen. So let's see. Yeah, 50% of drones are infertile.
Okay. Wow. That didn't seem right to me. So I looked it up. I think what she meant is that drones may be 50% infertile within them. That they may only have half of the sperm may be viable within each drone. Because that just didn't make sense to me.
Okay.
So I think that, because I wrote that down too, red, because I was like, that doesn't make sense. So I looked it up. So it's just that their sperm is not viable. And when they're, like you said, when they first emerge, they can't mate. They don't have any sperm. They have it. It just hasn't moved into the right place in their body that it can be used. So that's why it takes 14 days for everything to kind of come together for them. So that they can
Perfect. That was this. I've got that mark too. I'm like, that was surprising. So 50% within the bee is not viable. Okay.
She should have said 50% of the sperm is not viable.
Right. Okay. That's definitely different. So you can feed your colonies to encourage drone production. Again, if you do that, then you're going to have more drones available, better opportunities, better mating opportunities for the queen. Pesticides can really mess them up. Let's see. She gave a bunch of websites. Beescape.psu.edu, and I didn't put it in this, is a place that shows where pesticides could be getting sprayed. My notes say that pesticides can reduce drone viability, reduce sperm production, and waxed plastic foundations could be contaminated with pesticides. So it's good to replace your waxed plastic foundations from time to time.
So that website, the Beescape website, that also will show you your floral resources. So you can put in your address and it will show you spring, summer, fall, winter, what floral resources. And you can set the diameter like within 3 miles, 2 miles, whatever you want. But it's beescape.psu.edu. It's really cool.
Beescape.psu.edu.
You can put your address, your actual address where your hives are.
Yeah, you put your address in and it gives you the map and it shows you everything in that.
Set the diameter that you want to know, and it will show you floral resources within that area.
Is it on average or is it the current?
It's, I don't know, but it's got it by season, so you can kind of see.
I'm sure it's
Historic.
Doesn't it work off of iNaturalist as part of how it connects together?
Yeah.
And that was, yes, P as in Paul. Papa Sierra uniform.
Beekeeping.
Yes.
PSU.edu.
Yes. All right, so that was it for drones. I was really impressed with this because it flips things around. Most people are like, drones, okay, who cares about drones? But it really made an impact on me.
So there are a couple other things that I noted from that talk. One was if you want to produce drones for the purpose of culling them as a integrated pest management technique to get rid of your varroa, you should put the frame that you want to have drones produced on in the number 2 position. I always had it on the number 1 position, but she said put it at number 2. If you want them to produce drones for the purpose of mating, then you put it at number 4, so it's more within where the brood nest will be. So I thought that was really interesting. Let's see. Oh, also formic acid, when we use our Formic Pro, she said that does not affect drone health or sperm production. And there's no research on whether oxalic acid has any effect on it.
Might as well
Can I
keep that.
mention something about the drone component, like you said, that integrated pest management, when it first came out years ago, they're thinking that they was gonna be able to handle all the mites with this integrated pest management. And that drone column was just a portion of that. Screen bottom boards was another portion of it. And I think they figured out in the end that that column of drones is only gonna give maybe 7 to 10% efficacy as far as clearing out your mites. So it's kind of dumb to call
Right.
drones.
Yeah.
I use them, and you see my frames, I'll put a foundationless frame, at least one frame per box. I paint tops of them green, and I call them story frames, and I put a starter strip and some fishing line in there, and I'm getting away from that more than but I put one of them in the number 3 position in every box, and they'll draw that out, and that's where they'll put in them drone comb. And like you said, if you have one of them in per box, you will never have that drone comb between your boxes. When you pull your boxes apart and you got all them drone brood everywhere and nasty. I don't have that because drones are important.
Yep.
Now, another way to do the drone frame is to take half a sheet of foundation, cut it in half on your tabletop, and then put that into your wood frame, and then you can pin it in so where you center it in the frame. And so they make foundationless on the outside of that plastic, and they'll drive a drone comb in that foundationless.
Are you doing that in both the bottom and the top box, the third?
Yeah, because I rotate boxes, I usually put one per box.
Yep, and that's what she said too, is one green frame per box.
Okay.
Yeah, and I put it in the number 3 or the number 7 position. But it's on the outside of your brood nest. Usually you have honey, pollen, and then a drone brood, and then the brood nest.
I just didn't know if you were doing one frame in double deep or if you're doing 2 frames worth.
Yeah, I usually put it in one per box because when I rotate the boxes, I will double in there. But I've never had trouble nesting frames because of that. And I do not call on drones because I need my drones to make my queen.
Cool, thank you.
Another, yeah, an interesting piece about the drone congregation areas that I did not know is that she said that the drones have about 30 minutes of fuel. So in other words, they take off from the hive, they fly, they hang around, and they got to come back within about 30 minutes, or they got to go get fuel from somewhere else within 30 minutes. So that was surprising to me. The drone congregation areas are between 30 and 200 meters in diameter, and they seem to orient using landscape features. So it's not just random. 4 to 6 p.m. is when most of the mating occurs, or not, depending on the conditions. If it's too windy or too environmentally not, it's got to not be too hot and not have too much wind. And the queens, and this is something I think everybody here knows, or most everybody, the queens fly further than the drones. And so that is one of the ways that they maintain the genetic diversity. She's not mating with her own drones that way. I thought it was interesting, she made comments and mentions that when they find a drone congregation area, they were trying to, record it, videotape it, or not videotape it, but, record it, make a video of it using technological drones, which I thought was interesting. And she also talked about, what was it she was saying about having a balloon?
Oh, this is gonna be, we're gonna do this.
Yes.
It sounds so fun. So you take a helium balloon, and from the string you hang a queen lure. And then you put it on a long fishing line or a kite string, and you walk along with it, and somebody else with you with binoculars. And you can create a drone congregation area. Wouldn't that be fun? I just think that would be so fun. We could do it at our next apiary meeting if we could figure out. But it would be cool to collect, to kind of see how does that work. Are they just flying in circles? Are they back and forth? It'd just be fun to watch them, I think.
So the next speaker was Amy Franklin, and she was a doctor of veterinary medicine. Talked about foul brood fundamentals, and she talked about both European and American. And I thought this was interesting that Aristotle discovered or wrote about it in 350 BC. That he was aware of foul brood way back then.
Didn't she talk a couple years ago, like 5 years ago?
I wasn't there 5 years ago, so I don't know. So in the United States, one of my notes is in the United States between 2015 and 2022, American foul brood was found in 31 states, and the national average was 8.6%. So it was within 8.6% of the hives in the United States. European foul brood was found in 44 states, nationwide average at 19.2%. And the trend is going upward. In 2015, it was 10%. In 2022, it was 30%. In Colorado, American foul brood was 4.2%. And unfortunately, I don't have the number for European foul brood. Maybe you got that. 13.2. Okay. So for those of you who don't know, American foul brood is really, really bad. And European foul brood is recoverable. For American foul brood, as few as 4 spores can infect the entire colony and result in exponential growth of those spores and take over the colony and kill it. Transmission comes from swarming, drifting, robbing, contaminated beekeeping equipment. So this is one of the reasons why you never buy or use used beekeeping equipment, because you don't know whether or not it was exposed to that in the past. Signs of it include shotgun brood pattern, capping, it's dark and sunken, larva that is caramel in color as opposed to that bright pearly white, and a foul odor, which is why it's named foul brood. European foul brood, the transmission is mostly from stressed colonies. What that means is if you unstress the colony, it can resolve itself. Signs are shotgun brood pattern, twisted larvae, yellowish gut, smaller adults with reduced lifespan if it manages to survive. And it can also have sunken capped cells, offset holes in capped cells. You can do a matchstick test to determine if it's American foul brood or if it's European foul brood. And I'm not going to describe that. It's too complicated for this small thing, but basically you can tell the difference between the two using this test. If you do have American foul brood, the required treatment is to burn your equipment. Basically, your entire hive needs to be burned and the bees need to be destroyed. If you have, let's see, any drugs used to affect American foul brood to resolve this can also affect humans. And that's one of the reasons why, as a veterinarian, she's got to be there on site to inspect the hive, determine whether or not it really is American foul brood, and then determine what the treatment should be. For EFB, for European foul brood, if it's mild, you just watch and wait. Depending on the infection rate, you might shake the bees into new equipment or use antibiotics. And if it's greater than a 50% American foul brood percentage in your hive, she recommends euthanizing the colony. She does not recommend prophylactic use of antibiotics in any case. And the best thing that you can do to avoid European foul brood is choose a good apiary location, access to clean water, and minimize stressors. That includes mites and replacing colony foundation with fresh foundation, and sanitize your tools from time to time. Oops, there we go, treatment. There we go. And did I miss anything? Probably. Okay.
One of the biggest things about the European and the American, best way to tell is European is pre-capping, American is post-capping. So in European foul brood, you'll have your chocolate milk-looking brood before they're capped, where American foul brood is capped with little sunken and it's got little holes in it, and then you uncap it, it's got your
Nasty.
chocolate milk-looking brood that ropes out. But that's how you can tell the difference, because European is pre-capping, and sick bees are angry bees. So that's the first indication that your hive has got a problem, because you got an angry hive.
Yes.
But you'll go in there with American, I've had it twice in 12, 14, 13 years, and I was able to identify it immediately, and it's easy to identify. We do call the road test with a matchstick.
So you sure it's American and not European? Was it pre-cap or post-cap?
It's post-cap.
Okay.
It's American. Trust me.
Because European foul brood, you could take and you could do a shook swarm. You could do a shook swarm and put new frames in and feed it, because like I say, you're stressed because it probably need feed or requeen it, and you could overcome European foul brood.
Yep.
If you think that you have one of these things, though, we always talk about, like pilots, we'll talk about, first thing is confess and say, I need some help.
Yeah.
There's people who've dealt with it, and so if you think you do, there's a lot of resources here at the club, and that can help you identify it, and so you can get that second opinion before you go for the Dawn dish soap, and so that's my suggestion. If you think you have a problem but you're not sure, talk to somebody, talk to Peter, and he'll hook you up with somebody. That's the kind of thing. But when that foul brood, you go in your hive, it stinks. You're like, what's up?
And that's what happened to me was there was a member of our club called me and says, I think I've got a problem in my hives. And I went over there and we evaluated. It was really aggressive.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how he knew there was something wrong. We went in and they were all over it. They were the most aggressive I've ever seen. But it was pre-capping. It was that chocolate milk looking. And so we determined it was European foul brood. And he did a shook swarm where you shake all the bees out in front of the hive with a ram. And then they walk back into new boxes with new frames. And then I think he ended up requeening it, and he did. We put this thing, I don't know, probably not recommended, but we seen it on a Bob Benny video where these blue shop towels that's got this essential oils, eucalyptus and tea tree oil or some mixture, and it cleared it up. And the colonies got over it and survived. But the key was to have somebody come over and help them identify, is it European or is it American? Because boy, if it's American, like you say, Burn it. It ain't worth messing.
No, I bought 2 boxes, empty boxes off of Craigslist. Now I know how they got empty. They caught some of the spores, just like Peter was saying, for the second year, so I had to deal with the,
Used equipment.
used equipment.
That equipment out of Grandpa's farm, barn, it's probably one of your American Fabric was
Bad
prevalent. Bad idea.
Thanks.
So the last conversation was, or presentation was about defensive bees.
I had that too.
Yeah, so, and the first line there is do not keep exceptionally defensive bees. And why are they defensive? So first of all, what does it mean to be overly defensive? Bees are agitated, the workers cling to the Velcro or to your veil. They're not just bouncing off, but they're clinging. You can get stung from a distance. So if you're stung there at the hive, okay, everybody knows what that's like. But if you're like halfway across your yard and they're following you, that's aggressive. If you're unable to work in your yard, that's aggressive. So the first question is, are you using smoke when you're in your hive? If the answer is no, and your bees are aggressive, well, smoke will tamp it down and make them less aggressive. It interferes with the transmission of the alarm pheromone. And so if you can prevent one bee from alarming on the next bee, on the next bee, on the next bee, well, that'll be good. Is the weather bad? If you're in your hive and it's, storming out, the bees know this and they're like, wait a minute, you just opened us up and we're in the middle of this storm and this is our safe spot. Why are you doing this? And they're not going to be happy with that. Are the bees angry? Hangry, pardon me, hangry. Are they getting enough food? Are they getting enough resources? Because if they're not, they're stressed. And then you open it up, go in there looking for the queen, and they're not going to be very happy about that. During a dearth, they're more defensive than during a honey flow. So right now, bees are probably going to be a little bit more defensive because they're hangry. So what do you do about that? You feed them. And internal feeding is the best, of course, not say a Boardman feeder or external feeder, unless you want to create a robbing event, which nobody wants to do. Okay, are they getting repeatedly disturbed? So skunks, not so much around here, but bears, well, bears are obvious. They're not going to be just disturbed by a bear. They're going to be messed up by a bear. Are they getting knocked around? Is there, some environmental thing happening in your apiary that is causing them to be feeling that they're not safe? Are they getting robbed? Do you need to put a robbing screen up? Do you need to put a entrance reducer in? Something to allow them to help protect themselves from typically it's the weaker hives that get robbed, and that just makes them even weaker. So if you can protect the hive so that it can build itself up again, then they're less likely to be aggressive. And is it you? Do they not like you? Are you in the hive too often? Are you opening it up every other day? Because you really need to learn, you really need to see. Bees like to be left alone, and would not recommend going in more than once a week. Even that can be too much if they're already defensive enough. Have you washed your bee suit? That can be an important piece, because if you've been stung a few times, and when I say stung, I don't mean like your skin, I mean your bee suit. It can have alarm pheromone all over it, and you wouldn't even know it, but the bees would know it. Avoid perfumes, don't wear sunscreen, don't wear shampoo, really expressive shampoos. Are they queenless? Because a queenless hive is going to be more aggressive than a queen right hive. If they're queenless, they're definitely not happy. So the solution there is solve that problem, make them so that they're not queenless, and then wait. if you end up with laying workers, that'll happen 30 days after the last cat brood emerges. And that's definitely one way to tell, but you don't want to get to that point. Okay, is it genetics? It's the male mating with the queen that contributes to the aggression. It's not the queen. One of the comments that she said, I was surprised at that. Who the queen mates with matters. And so the greater genetic diversity you have, the more likely that you're going to have a variety of characteristics, not just one.
I think that's why you can have a good hive that turns bad, because you might be getting into that genetic diversity mix from the evils.
Yes, and that's where you ask, Africanized bees have the ability to supersede a hive. They can basically take it over. Usurp. That's the right word.
You've had that happen.
You're just Mr. Example tonight.
I actually had 2 hives that were close to each other, and they were great hives. One had a, how do I say, is it Caucasian? Caucasian
Yeah.
queen in it, which are known to be the gentlest of all the breeds. One was a Carnelian, and they went the meanest hives ever. I had them on the side of it was in a field. When I opened them up, it was in October, and they attacked me. And I was just feeding the top feeder. I wasn't going through the hive. I lifted the lid to put a gallon feeder on top, and they attacked me. And I got stung about 7 times. They followed me across the field, so it was about the length of a football field. They stayed with me that entire way. So now I kind of track the aggressiveness of hives. Once I'm going through them, you always get some bouncing off your veil. How far will they travel with me as I'm walking back to my truck? And if it's greater than about 20, 30 feet, then I start to question. This went a football field, and they were still trying to get me. And yeah, so they will turn back. I remember talking to Ann, we had lunch, trying to talk through it. There are times that you have to deal with it because it is a public safety problem. I was worried about people riding their bikes down the streets. Luckily, this was out of a neighborhood, but that's when you start thinking about dispatching a hive, which is actually easier than you think. So you don't play around with public safety, and if they get that mean, 5-gallon bucket, Dawn dish soap, and you can take them out. But you have to know when it's time to do that. They changed on me. They were great colonies through the summer. They were fantastic. Something happened. We thought that Africanized colonies came in and usurped the colony. To this day, I still don't know exactly what happened. But all I know is they were the meanest. I had to wear the full bee suit because they were stinging me through Carhartts, and I mean, it was serious. And we don't mess with that.
Driving like half a mile down, they're still chasing me.
Yeah, and yes, I remember talking about that. So we don't mess with angry bees. It's not worth it. It's bad. We do this for the hobby for the most part, and we don't have time in our lives to deal with public safety and that sort of thing. So you got to know if they're that angry, it's fun to think about it and try to figure out what could have happened, but it's not worth it.
No, I agree. Yeah, if they're chasing you a football field or even 30, 20 yards.
I got 7, 8, and they were attacking me.
Yeah, I mean, you crack open the lid and they're on you.
They just, and when they start going into attack mode, because I only wear a full bee suit when I really need to, but I was just wearing the jacket, and I was like, hey, no big deal, here's some feed, and it was attacked, and it was bad. So
So
interesting thing she talked about is that they collected samples from aggressive hives in Indiana, I think, because Purdue did this. And they did not find any Africanized heritage in it.
Yeah.
So,
I heard that
What is that?
there's a gene that can flip in carnelian. It can make them aggressive mid-life cycle. I don't know. But it happened two different, one of them, I swear, was still my marked queen. But I wouldn't go near them, I had to, for a
Was
while.
it in a dirt? Was it in a dirt?
No,
Because they did aggressive.
no, it was after, no, it was,
That's why after honey pull, I mean, you know, everybody wants to go in and inspect their hives, and I pull honey, I don't put my hives anymore. I just feed them. I never go in a brood box again until the next spring, because why? If you grow your queen, too late to get a requeen, you know,
it was,
difference.
it was October, and, I had to, the first thing I did was put them on pallets, closed it up, put it on pallets, got a tractor out, I have a cab tractor. I had to use the cab tractor because they attacked me, even with it all bundled up, it was a mess.
Yeah, Don, so
Just so.
That's why she asked the question, where did the bees come from? Did you buy them from South Texas?
yeah.
And yeah, so there's a lot to know about that. Africanized bees were created in 1957. They made it to the United States in 1993. And fortunately, they don't do well in northern climates.
They don't over winter, that's why we don't have them.
I'm not sure who said it in one of the meetings, but I started wearing a mask when I deal with my bees. And they don't bother me, I mean.
Because they're not getting the carbon dioxide.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's made a huge difference for me.
Make the bees mad.
Hard enough in that bees,
Because then you're the bear when you breathe on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned it weekly, but especially for the new beekeepers. Thinking you can save some money by buying used equipment can really haunt you. You're better off starting out with new equipment, because you don't know where that old equipment has been.
Or equipment with bees in them, and you talk to them, someone you know, I'd buy Pete's bees.
Well,
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
like
the
a
worst case.
beekeeper in a club that's getting out, you know,
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Well,
about that, but-
Well, if you know the history of the equipment, that's different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, if you have the history.
Yeah.
Except buying them from him.
Yeah, don't buy mine. I got a long history of problems.
Yeah. Never buy his, and you never buy his.
That's right. Just know where your equipment is.
So the CSBA meeting was really good, and hopefully we've been able to provide you with some piece of it. So I really encourage you guys next year to go, and also we're having the other one, the winter meeting in November. It's going to be somewhere in the Denver area.
I can tell you more about that.
Okay.
So, I volunteered to be the secretary of the CSBA, and let's leave that right there. But anyway, so the next, the winter meeting will be November 14th, and it will be at the Epic Center, which is just across the street from Littleton High School. So we're in the process of planning that. We volunteered as a club, Southeast Beekeeping, to help. We are not doing the main planning. That's going to be Highland Bee Club. I went and toured that facility when they had their meeting there. It's beautiful. I think we'll have a really great event. There will also be a honey show. And so if you're interested in entering your honey in that show, that'd be great. There's going to be expanded categories, including historic artifacts or something like that. So if you have, your great grandpa's old beekeeping smoker or something really cool like that, that's going to be a category in the show. So if you're interested in helping, we could use some help. We're just getting ready to set up a Zoom call with the leadership to try to put together what kind of volunteers we need. So.
You lined up any speakers yet?
We are in discussion. I'm not at liberty to say who, but I think you'll be very pleased. Let me put it that way. So.
Very nice. Okay, we're kind of running late, but I really like that picture. Okay, I think we're going to skip Crud Cutter Confessions tonight because we're running really late. But
Unless Mercedes is still here. Oh, she had a good one. She can get it next time.
well,
Obviously a great product.
if you really want to do it, okay, I guess we won't skip. Okay, go ahead.
Anyway. So we've probably heard a couple of Crud Cutter Confessions about the extractor and a few other things like that. Always have a little demonstration prior. Is kind of, I've had a couple experience catching some swarms this year, and actually a couple easy ones where they were on a branch. I basically got it low, shook them into a nuke box, put them all together, put them in the truck. Found that a few more gathered, so I thought I'll get a next extra or a second nuke box and let them gather and add a few more. So I get them. Wow, what an easy job it was. Gonna take them out to my apiary, put them in the hive. You get out there, put the big box with all the bees in, get them in there. Go to the second box, and it's empty. It's like, did I get the wrong box? I look in all the boxes, they're gone. I just chalked it up to, well, I don't know. So about a week later, I did the same thing. Nice one, got it in the nuke box, a few more gathered, put a few more, got it. And I'm driving back to the different apiary, and I'm going through, and every once in a while I see some bees. I'm trying to figure out why. I stopped, pulled over, lid's closed, looks good. I get about 30, 35 miles an hour, and I just barely catch in my rearview mirror, the lid. Just popping up. So there's supposed to be a little latch on the nuke box to catch. Well, obviously it didn't work. So good old duct tape comes in handy, or put something on top of the box. So that's my Crud Cutter confession for the day. So I disqualified myself, by the way, also. So any other fun ones from swarms, from honey extractions? We got one over here. Oops.
Well, that was a scratching head.
That's the challenge.
We've got a lot of times in hives this time of year. Any great stories?
I don't have a problem issue, but I do have a quick story that I could tell. Got it. Anyway, so last year I left one of my supers on. So I have two deeps and then a super, and I left it on. And of course, this year I put a queen separator on there, so that when I put my honey supers on, they're not going to lay brood up in my honey, right? And then I was like, I really don't want to have that extra super on there. I need to pull that medium off and just go get rid of that. And I didn't have time to go and search through and find the queen with it when there's 100,000 bees in there. So I thought, okay, I'll just put another queen separator on there, and if there's still eggs laying in there, then I know the queen is in the super, and if there's eggs down below, I know the queen's down in there, right? So I did that, and well, of course, I come back a week later to check on it, and oh great, there's I'm pulling all the honey supers off, and there's no brood up there, so the queen separator did its job, and then I'm going in to check if there's any eggs in the super that I don't want any eggs to be in. And fortunately, there weren't. But it was filled with drones because all the drones had emerged in that week that had been previously laid, and they couldn't get out because there was a queen separator on the top and there's a queen separator on the bottom. And there was no honey remaining in that because they were hungry. So I had to shake them all out and get I was like, I've never seen that many drones in one place in my life.
The drone's super.
Yeah, that's my silly story.
Okay. Any other thoughts? Okay, how about a round of applause for the super drone?
Yay! And I just ran out of this too, so so this is perfect. All right. Next. No, I was going to ask you a question.
Oh, okay.
But that's okay. So, for those of you who've never seen it before, this is the golden bee. By the way, the very first time I had that experience with the ooh and ah was actually at the Washington Mall during the bicentennial fireworks. When I was there. That's how old I am. Anyway, this is cool. This is awarded to a member of our club who's done special services and deserves recognition. And we have also, in addition to providing this, you get to keep it for 30 days, until the next month. We're also providing a little, not a plaque, but a certificate. Thank you. So that you have something to keep. And in this case, we've got a two-time winner, 3-gun. We would like to present this to you. Say why.
Oh, so, several years ago, we were gifted a top bar hive. We were very excited about that. We put it in our apiary. We were gonna put a swarm in it. It didn't happen that year. It became a mouse house. And it sat there for, 3-4 years. Finally, this spring, Janice and I suited up, hantavirus.
There we go.
So we suited up, masks, rubber gloves, all that, bleach bottles. We cleaned it all out, but it had warped in pieces. Everything was kind of funky. We were almost going to throw it away. And I said, before we get rid of this thing that was gifted to us, it's beautiful. It's got a window on the side and everything. We should see if it can be repaired. Who should we get to repair it? 3-gun. So he very graciously repaired it. It's beautiful. We don't have it set up yet, though. Almost set up. So I don't know if we're gonna have a swarm yet this year. It's kind of late for swarms. But if we do get a swarm, we'll put it in there. And I've never done a top bar. Janice has never done a top bar. I don't think Mark knows anything about that. So we're gonna all learn together how to do this. But now we have one that's functional, and that's because of 3-gun.
All right, we're up for the raffle.
Where are your tickets at? Chris, do you want to do the raffle? I'll just show the prizes. Okay, we have this funky little bee. His legs hang off the shelf. There is a Be Happy zipper pouch. We have another one of these stuffed bee gnomes. Very cute. Stuffed beekeeper gnome. A short history of the honeybee. Chris got some plants for us from Tagawa's. This one is salvia. Another plant, I don't know what it is.
Is that?
Looks like another salvia.
Yeah, it has purple flowers.
Is it a different type?
Yeah.
Salvia.
Okay. And then, I thought I'd keep for the end.
Look at that.
That's fine.
It is a solar mobile, and it lights up at night.
That is so
When it
cool.
gets dark, and it charges during the day.
That is so cool.
That's gonna be our final price.
Purple wood sage, that's what it says.
Oh.
Purple wood sage, that's what it says, that's what the app says. All right, so we're doing the raffle. Everybody has tickets, we'll start out with. Go if you wanna just pick one.
Pick your own number.
I was worried I didn't pick my own number.
It was 650.
All right.
Well, hold on, you got it, because you picked the next one.
So pick the next one, okay.
Hold on
See
to your
what else we
number
got.
because you might win the
I
grand
am
prize, right?
holding on to.
I've got the one from here
Oh, okay.
that I'm holding.
All right, so next number is 649. 649.
Anybody? Must have left.
Yeah. Because, all right. I did not pick that number, although it could happen. 642.
All right.
I was told to get a plan or else.
All right, and then you're
651.
All right, Veronica.
Oh, what do we got?
Just, you keep these.
Okay, okay. Let's see. 652.
I mixed these really good too. Nobody?
Next number is 636. 636.
Oh, you can keep that. Yep. Nobody? Okay.
That one's mine.
Okay. We have the zipper bag left.
The number is 643.
Oh, double winners this time.
And I'm gonna put it back in.
Yes, put them back in. So we'll put those numbers back in for to have a chance for this guy.
And if you want to pick one, preferably pick mine, but.
Because I just picked one. Okay, it is 647.
All right.
Enjoy.
You want to trade a golden bee?
You only get that for a month.
Thanks, everybody, for coming. We'll see you next time.
Just say what we're doing next time with Shelley. Next time, by the way, we have Shelley Quattlebaum coming to speak. She is the USDA inspector, and she's going to talk about some really cool research that she's done.